thinking about retirement, fantasizing about sipping tea by the West Lake or practicing Tai Chi in a Beijing park. It sounds idyllic, doesn't it? Many people dream of retiring abroad, and China, with its rich history, delicious food, and seemingly low cost of living, often pops up on the list. But hold on a second. Before you pack your bags and book a one-way ticket, I need to have a serious talk with you. I'm going to share some crucial, often overlooked reasons why retiring to China might not be the dream you imagine. And trust me, you'll want to hear this. First and foremost, let's talk about something fundamental: your visa. This is the biggest hurdle, and honestly, it's a deal-breaker for most. China does not offer a retirement visa. Let me repeat that. There is no official pathway for a foreigner to simply retire in China. So, how do the few expats you see there manage it? Well, they're usually on other types of visas that they have to constantly renew. You might think, I'll just get a tourist visa. The standard L visa typically only allows you to stay for 30 to 60 days. You'd have to leave the country and re-enter, a process known as a visa run. Imagine, every month or two, having to pack up, fly to Hong Kong, Seoul, or Bangkok, apply for a new visa, and hope it gets approved. This is not just expensive and exhausting, it's also incredibly uncertain. Chinese visa policies can and do change without warning. What if one day your application is denied? Your entire life, your home, your belongings, everything is suddenly in limbo. You'd have no legal right to stay. That's not retirement, that's a state of constant stress. Okay, let's say you somehow navigate the visa maze, perhaps through a long-term business or work visa that you stretch into your later years. Now let's talk about healthcare. This is non-negotiable in retirement. As we get older, our healthcare needs increase. While major Chinese cities have hospitals with VIP wings catering to foreigners, the costs are astronomical if you're paying out of pocket. Your home country's public health care, like Medicare in the US or the NHS in the UK, will not cover you in China. You will need comprehensive international private health insurance. And let me tell you, policies that provide good coverage in China for a senior citizen can cost thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars per year. The premiums rise steeply with age. Furthermore, if you have pre-existing conditions, you might find it difficult to get coverage at all. Outside of the top-tier international hospitals, you'll be dealing with the local public system. While the doctors can be excellent, the experience can be overwhelming. Imagine trying to explain complex medical symptoms through a translation app in a crowded, chaotic hospital where the standards of care and patient privacy are vastly different from what you're used to. It's a risk, and in a health emergency, it's a risk you really don't want to take. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of daily life. The language barrier is more than just an inconvenience. It's a wall. While you might find some English speakers in the tourist-heavy areas of Shanghai or Beijing, the moment you step off that path, you're on your own. Everything, from reading a utility bill, to directing a taxi driver, to ordering at a local restaurant, to simply asking for directions, requires Mandarin. And it's not an easy language to learn, especially later in life. This constant communication struggle can be incredibly isolating. It limits your ability to form genuine connections with local people, to participate in community activities, and to feel truly at home. You risk becoming a perpetual outsider, living in an expat bubble that prevents you from experiencing the very culture you moved there for. This isolation can have a serious impact on your mental and emotional well-being, which is just as important as your physical health in retirement. Let's talk money. While day-to-day costs for things like food and transportation can be cheap, the dream of a low-cost retirement is a bit of a mirage. As a foreigner, you often end up paying more for many things. Renting an apartment in a desirable area of a major city can be just as expensive as in many Western cities. And remember, you can't actually buy property in the same way you can at home. In China, all land is owned by the state. You can only purchase a long-term lease, typically for 70 years. And navigating that process as a foreigner is a bureaucratic nightmare, filled with restrictions and potential pitfalls. Getting your money in and out of the country is another major headache. China has strict capital controls. Moving your pension or retirement savings into China can be complex, and taking it out? Even more so. Imagine you need to access a large sum of your money for an emergency back home. You can't just wire it. There are daily and annual limits, and the process requires extensive paperwork and official approval. Your own money can feel trapped. This lack of financial freedom and control is a huge source of anxiety that you simply don't need in your golden years. Beyond the practicalities, there's the cultural and social environment. The digital ecosystem is completely different and, frankly, restrictive. The services you rely on daily, Google, Gmail, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, are all blocked by the Great Firewall. To access them, you need a VPN, a virtual private network. But even VPNs can be unreliable. The government periodically cracks down on them, leaving you digitally cut off from friends and family back home. Everything in China, from paying for a coffee to booking a doctor's appointment, is done through apps like WeChat and Alipay. If you're not tech-savvy, the learning curve is steep and relentless. Life without these apps is almost impossible. There's also a different understanding of personal space, queuing, and public etiquette that can be jarring. While it's part of the cultural experience, the constant adjustment can be draining over the long term. What might be a fun, quirky difference on a 2-week vacation can become a daily frustration when it's your permanent reality. Finally, you have to consider the legal and political landscape. As a foreigner, you are a guest in the country, and you have very few rights. The legal system is opaque and operates very differently from what you're used to. Disputes, whether with a landlord or in a minor accident, can be incredibly difficult to resolve fairly. You're always subject to the laws and the political climate of the country, which can be unpredictable. You have to be mindful of what you say and do, both online and in person. This isn't about being a dissident. It's about the everyday reality of living in a country with a vastly different approach to individual freedoms. This constant, low-level sense of needing to be careful can wear you down and prevent you from ever truly relaxing, which is the whole point of retirement, isn't it? So, when you put it all together, the impossible visa situation, the exorbitant and uncertain health care, the deep-seated language and cultural barriers, the financial restrictions, and the challenging digital and political environment, the picture of retiring in China becomes a lot less rosy. It's a country that is absolutely incredible to visit. I encourage everyone to go, to see the Great Wall, to explore the vibrant cities, to eat the amazing food. But visiting is one thing. Living there permanently in retirement is a completely different ballgame. It requires a level of resilience, adaptability, and a tolerance for uncertainty that most people simply don't want to deal with in their later years. Your retirement should be a time of peace, security, and joy, not constant struggle and stress. So, before you fall for the romanticized dream, please do your research and consider these realities. There are many other wonderful places in the world that are far more welcoming and practical for retirees. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some valuable food for thought. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more realistic travel and living abroad insights. Take care, and happy retirement planning.